19th Amendment, 100 years ago yesterday. It's only 39 words. It's a short little amendment. It says, I got it here. The right of the citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state on account of sex. That's it. And Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Done. So to make a constitutional amendment, you need 36 states to ratify it in their state legislatures. It's a pretty cool process that the founding fathers came up with. So 35 states ratified it. So 35 states. So the suffragists, hate that word. When did that word ever, you know what I mean? I always have to think about it. I hear suffrage and I'm like, that's two vote. Okay, I still can't. Anyway, so the suffragists who wanted to vote, they were looking at the remaining states that haven't ratified it yet. And they're like, all right, which one here has the best shot? Which one do we need to rally at and get on board? And of the remaining states, the one shot they had was Tennessee. Go Vols. Good old Rocky Top. The day of the vote, it was like nearly violent going all around Nashville. It's crazy. But it came down to Tennessee. So they had two votes. The first vote was to table it, which was essentially to kill it, right? You kill it without voting for it. So they're like, we'll worry about this another time. So they voted, 48-48 tie. So they did not get to table it. So now it's time to vote. Yes or no? What do you say? 19th Amendment, women vote. So imagine this, the entire gallery's packed. I mean, everyone knew the first vote was a tie, right? So if it tied again, then it wouldn't work. So someone had to flip. Now, I guess someone could have, everyone said the same, it wouldn't have passed. So no one had to flip negative. But if one person flipped positive, then that's all it would have taken. It was a tie. And they really believed this was the last chance for the women's right to vote movement, for the 19th Amendment. It came down to one person in this chamber in Nashville 100 years ago. One person. Enter Harry T. Byrne. He's from East Tennessee, Neota, Tennessee. Actually, what am I saying? My wife is from Tennessee. It's probably Nyota. Nyota? Yeah, it's Nyota. I'm trying to put a southern drawl on that. No way would they call it Neota. Nyota. Today, it has a population of 726 people. Okay, I don't know if 100 years ago they were like a booming metropolis, but today it's a tiny little town. It's right in between Knoxville and Chattanooga. He was the youngest representative in the state. He's 24 years old. His nickname was Baby Byrne. Baby Byrne. And the anti-suffrage people, they were sure that he was on their side. And actually he was on that first vote. And they told him, you better vote this way. Oh, so your entire career is in jeopardy, kid. Baby Byrne. So they did a roll call, right? Go around the room. They got to Baby Byrne. And he stood up. And he reached inside his pocket, his coat, and he felt a letter that was inside his jacket pocket. And it was a letter that his mother wrote him. Feb Byrne. Feb Byrne was a widow who was running the family farm. And she was reading the newspaper accounts on how this vote was going. And she never read anything about her son. Didn't know how her son was going to vote. So she decided to write him a note. Give a little nudge in the right direction. It was a 6-page letter. All the small talk up front about the weather and the farm and some weddings she went to and all this stuff, and then it got down to business. And she wrote to her son. She said, hurry and vote for suffrage and don't keep them in doubt. Baby Byrne felt that note and he voted yay on the 19th Amendment. He flipped his vote. Everyone goes nuts, right? Imagine this scene. You got the suffragettes who are, they're screaming, throwing roses down on the representatives. Roses was the big symbol, right? If you were a suffragette, you wore, I think it was a yellow rose pin, and you carried roses around with you everywhere. And then if you were a lawmaker who was for it, you would get a red pin. So roses were a big thing, right? So the suffragettes, they started throwing roses down on top of everyone, and the anti-suffrage people, they're screaming and yelling at Baby Byrne. How could you? You read right. And Baby Byrne stayed calm. And he said the next day, I knew that a mother's advice is always safest for a boy to follow. And my mother wanted me to vote for ratification. And then a couple of years later, he said, I think it was morally right. I thought it then, and I still think it today. Wow. That was deep and insightful. I want more of that. Like, subscribe, get more.